Hi everybody, in this video I want to show you around this car here, Inster Cross, but to show you that I need to set a bit of a scene with the first and second models and then we'll develop into Inster Cross. I have a good few Inster videos at this stage, so just here's a general Inster video. If you look at this, that's going to be quite useful for just going through a lot of the practical stuff that's on Inster, or if you're really looking at the details between the first and the second models, this video here is going to be quite useful for that type of stuff. And this particular video then, the third one, quick rapid fire round between the first and second models, just to show you what you get going from the first to second, and then we're going to go from the second to the third, and the third one being Inster Cross. So if you're here for Inster Cross, it might be a little bit later in the video. If you're here for Insters in general, then you're going to have a better idea. 1, 2 and 3, I'll put them all side by side, and if I've missed anything, the comment section, just let me know and I'll be happy to help. Now, just someone might want to freeze frame this for a sec. So if you were to pause this for a second, Signature being the first model, Elegance being the second, and the Cross being the third. So if you have a quick pause on that, that's going to show you exactly what you're getting in those three models. Okay, so I think it's easier if we try and compare all these cars side by side. Right, this one here, 42 kilowatt hour Signature, predicted about 300 kilometers range. 49 kilowatt hour Elegance, predicted at around 360 kilometers range. 49 kilowatt hour Inster Cross, predicted at around 360 kilometers range. 360, 360, 300, 49 kilowatt hour, 49 kilowatt hour, 42 kilowatt hour. I have other videos which would be way more detailed, so if you're looking specifically, I suppose, for details on charging and more pragmatic stuff, the other videos are probably a lot better this way. This is just trying to give you a better idea of what you get on each model. Public charging, probably around 120 kilowatts at max rate. So I suppose the sales pitch is 10% to 80% in the public on a very fast charger, obviously. That's going to be around 30 minutes. But for most people that are buying these cars, we're finding they will be charging them from home. Well, the one thing that I do find interesting, a lot of people that have bought these, not everyone has a charge point installed, which is something that I've come to notice on this segment. At the time of the video, this car is in the early 20,000 range. This one's in the mid 20,000 range. This one's in the late 20,000 range. The reason I'm not more specific on prices, they do change over time, so I'm just trying to give you some rough ideas. Right, okay, so the first thing that stands out to me then, let's start off over here. They all have LED indicators on the front, which is pretty nice. Looking along the front here, the front bumper and grille section along here, pretty much identical to the next model of Elegance even. We can see the daytime running lights and the parking lights are pretty much identical here, but on this one it is a halogen headlight, whereas this one has LEDs for the dips and the fulls as well. Just aesthetically, we can see the bottom brushed aluminium section on the bumper. That is the exact same on both of these. So at a glance, when you're looking at the front of these two cars, they are pretty much identical. Right, let's move across to the Cross, no pun intended. The Cross, even in black, it's looking a lot squarer. So remember, the only thing that was changing up here really was the headlamps, whereas this one, when we look here, that bumper is more round along there. This one kind of comes out and is much more aggressive, the line, the way it comes down through there. If we're looking over here and looking over here, we see the kind of ventilation section along through here. That is something that's different. This big brushed aluminium mouth along here is not here, whereas you have this more kind of square looking one. And on the first two models, this is like these slats and shapes along here. That's a matte plastic finish, whereas over here now it's a gloss finish. And even things like the active air scoops that open up to cool the battery, they're in a gloss finish along through there as well. We have this kind of satin finish down along here through the bumper, and if you look at the recess, it is the same headlight, but the recess for the headlight is much more square. So actually, to be fair, when you look at the front of the car, well, in my opinion anyway, I think the Cross looks a little bit more sporty looking. Now, it is a more rugged look that they've gone for on it, but it is a little bit more sporty. Dare I say, it looks like a tiny bit more ground clearance on the Cross version, I think, compared to the regular version. But overall, like we're saying, different colours and different shapes along the bumpers, on the outside, on the edges, along through that centre section through here, and a bit more gloss black over through there as well. The charge point is in a very similar place, but if we look at this one, the charge point here, in a similar place, but kind of surrounded by all this kind of dark reflective finish. This one here is more of a gloss black finish. And one thing that we see, because it has a 360 camera, you can see the camera is on the front over here. Whereas we do have cameras on these ones, but they're on the rear. So this one has the front camera. Moving down the side then, that is one thing that's different here, because we have a camera in here on the driver. Oh, there's my glasses. So camera up here, which we'll see better in a sec. Other than that though, the actual shape of the door mirror is pretty much identical. Okay, let's look out the side of the car. The first is signature over here with a 15-inch wheel even, so that's a 15-inch wheel. 185/65, so 185 in terms of width, 65 in terms of profile. The 17-inch wheel, to be fair, yes, obviously it's a nicer looking wheel, nice diamond cut finish. Apologies, the wind noise is starting to creep in there. So, but they're also a 17-inch wheel. So you're moving up to a 205 tyre there as well. The profile is moving down to a 45 profile. So it's a bigger wheel with a lower profile with a wider tyre overall. So looks wise, this looks really well. Having said that, arguably for some people they might find this ride a little bit more comfortable. They might find range is improved by having the slightly smaller wheel as well. But this one really fills out the arch as well. Now, to be fair, the wheel on that Cross actually looks really well tonight. The first time I saw the Cross wheel, I was kind of thinking, is it more like a wheel trim maybe or something like that? But in the bright sunny evening that we have here, that Cross wheel looks really well. So this one, like we were saying, was a 17-inch wheel. The Cross, I actually need to check right now, is probably also a 17-inch wheel with a 205 45 tyre. So pretty much the exact same, just a different shape wheel, but the exact same dimensions. For anyone that's sharp then, you'll see the A-pillar here is colour-coded. The A-pillar over here on the middle spec is a matte type of finish. And the A-pillar over here is actually a metallic finish, but I'm assuming that just goes with the colour of the car rather than it being a black A-pillar per se, but I do stand to be corrected, it's the only one that we have so far. The other thing as well then, we don't have roof rails on the Signature, but we do on the Elegance have roof rails if you want to use the roof bars that go from left to right for a roof box. And then obviously the more robust Inster Cross will also have that as well. This is going to sound a bit stupid at the start, but you have a conventional roof on the car. You have a conventional roof on the car, so that's the first two models. With the third model Cross then, we'll have a large sunroof. So we'll have a look at that on the inside in a sec. The windows are UV tinted on the Signature model, but you also get privacy on the Elegance model, and you also get privacy on the Cross. The first time I saw, I really actually kind of preferred the looks of this wheel and this package. But actually, the more I'm looking at this Cross now, I really do like that wheel actually in real life. And I like the kind of squareness of the bumpers. In terms of like doors, quarter panels, door handles, all those kind of things, they all look pretty much identical. Like all the models have the ones we have in Ireland have the keyless entry and all that kind of stuff. But the arches, they are the exact same on both sides. So round to the rear, so we have LED indicators. So most of the lighting is pretty much the same, but the most obvious one is we've got halogen tail lights over here on this one, and brake lights then, whereas these ones are all LED in through here. There is a difference on the boot sizes. Again, the other video I have which really in depth compares the first and second models is probably better. I can't move these seats backwards and forwards. Now again, I would urge you to look at my more in-depth comparison. I am trying to keep this video relevant to the Inster Cross, but I can fold these seats down and they do go fairly flat. Again, for measurements and literage, please do look at the video which compares the Signature and the Elegance model, because it's got more technical details in through there in that video. So again, we can take this section out if we want to have a deep boot, but the seats per se are fixed. They don't slide backwards and forwards. So in other words, you can't increase the boot space. This one again, you can lift this up. However, these are here for the reason being this one does have a rail which does allow you to bring the seats backward and forward, which again is going to give either more legroom or it's going to give it's going to give more boot space depending on what you want. Okay, the Cross. So exact same setup. Again, now this is a boot liner we put into this one. You can buy them as an optional extra if you want, and a safety kit. But yeah, the seats do have the option to go backwards and forwards for moving around space when it comes to bigger boot or bigger legroom. But the big thing is the entry model signature. So remember, we're back to the first model here, the entry model signature. The front seats fold as far back as you'd expect a normal car to have the seats folding. However, one thing we did find once we got into the Elegance model, we could actually fold all of the seats flat down, and that's where you might have seen in some videos where all 4 seats are down and you have the mattress. Now, how they get the mattress with them, I suppose it's maybe a blow-up mattress or something like that. But anyway, you end up with 4 completely flat seats, and I think I'm glad to report that the Cross does the exact same. So yeah, so you can fold all of these seats down completely flat, which means you can lay like a mattress on top of it for really a pretty savage amount of room for this size of car. And what's nice about it is it actually really doesn't take that much effort. So if you had a blow-up mattress, lie it all the way across the back, look out, had a starry night, the rest is history. Okay, one thing I forgot to do on the back. So the back bumpers on the first and second models over here are pretty much identical. Brushed aluminium down through there. Same kind of colour coding. Same sort of shiny reflective finish along the black sections there. By the way, this one has only landed. It is dirty. It's just been in transport. We're in the middle of trying to get it ready for a customer whose car is broken down, so he needs his new car pretty quick. So haven't even had a chance to clean it yet. Just looking down the side, you'll see, like the front, a bit of extra ventilation along. Well, it's not really ventilation, it's just a ventilation style vent, even though it's not an actual vent, but it just looks nice. The bumper shape there and there is pretty much identical, so it's not changing there, but the internal composition has changed here. So again, same kind of style of reflector and indicator and all that kind of stuff, but just with this more rugged surround. And then we saw black over here, whereas this one has this kind of dark anthracite almost kind of colour, if that makes sense, down along through there. And then the bottom splitter is a little bit different. It has the same kind of indentations, diffuser kind of style along here, but they're a little bit more pronounced and rugged looking along here. One point to note, this car will have parking sensors on the rear, so will this, so will this. The entry model will not have parking sensors on the front, but the middle spec Elegance and the Cross will have front parking sensors. And like what we said then, this one, reverse camera, and 360 camera looking rear, front and sides. So again, bear with me, this one's got a lot of transport plastic on it. So let's look at the door for a sec. This is the kind of colour of the materials on the entry model. This is going to be a little bit unfair. We did put an accessory on this one, so that's actually not normally there. So it's kind of similar, but different material down along through here. So it kind of breaks up the black plastic along through what we've seen on the first model signature. Let's move over to the Cross. So the door cards on the Cross have, again, dark wearing plastic. To be fair, a middle spec Elegance normally has that. Our demo is a little bit different. Lighter materials, lighter colours along the door card. Okay, again, and I apologise, a lot of transport plastic on this car. Literally just landed, trying to get ready, get somebody on the road ASAP. Making a note of how the steering wheel looks, things like lane departure warning and cruise control and controls for radio and phone and all that kind of stuff in through there. Drive mode here. The adjuster here. Again, the other videos I have, guys, will be much more detailed on this. Again, I'm just trying to give you a comparison here. Storage, doesn't move or anything, just storage. Climate control with heated seats and with heated steering wheel. You will have the same 10.25 inch screen, so it will have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which is wired. It does have to be tethered, so if you do want wireless, get a dongle. But it will have built-in navigation and Blue Link, so you can use the car remotely. USB, as in starting the car, starting the charging, stopping the charging, unlocking the car, all that kind of stuff. USB connections in through there, and a dark seat material in through here. Point of note, does not have an armrest in through here. The reason I say that, because the next one we move on to is going to have that. So again, very, very similar kind of colour on the seating. But unlike, if you look at the signature, so you do have a kind of medium grey. This one, medium sort of grey, but has a little bit of a darker area up through here. And just that, some of that design language that Hyundai have in a lot of their modern cars. One thing we'll notice straight away, we've got ambient lighting now on this particular model. Clocks are the same, steering wheel is the exact same. Climate control is the exact same, screen is the exact same. Storage down here is the same, but I do have a wireless charging pad in here now as well. And then, like what I talked about, I've also got an armrest in through here also. So pretty quickly, you can see on the Cross there's some extra colours. So down through here, down through there, I retain the ambient lighting, and then I've got that sunroof, so I can close it over. I presume if I press it, I can tilt it like an old-fashioned sunroof, and I can close over the sunroof, actually, which is a manual. I haven't seen that for a while, and it doesn't bother me in the least. Open, close, very fast. I have no problem with some analog things in cars like that. I've got some extra yellow stitching. The material on the seats, again, similar colour grey, but darker on the back section with this kind of quilted sort of finish. More yellow stitching, and I've got Inster in through here, and then I've got a design along the seat along there as well. Just to refresh our memory, the dash is a lot darker on the first and second models, whereas it does get a lot lighter in here. It's just a lighter shade of grey. And things like then the roof cloth, they're pretty much the same in all the models. Just want to be sure. Yep, pretty much the same, and pretty much the same in through here as well. Controls for the seating and all that kind of stuff is the exact same on the three models. Okay, so like we were saying, we got a 360 camera. What's great about that, if I turn left, I've got a camera here. If I turn right, I've got a camera here telling me what's down the side of the car. The other thing that's pretty cool on that is then if somebody's in your blind spot, you get this little warning up here in the mirror. And then when I go for reverse, I get a 360 camera looking around me here. Or I can have this kind of funky looking one, which gives me an idea of what's around me, so that's kind of nice as well. Just one other point of note on these cars. So like we were saying, the first one is the 42 kilowatt hour. These ones here are the 49 kilowatt hour, so more battery size, so that's going to give you a better range. But these two also have a heat pump, which is useful for scavenging waste heat from the battery and other electrical processes in the car. And also a battery warmer, which is useful for conditioning the battery and heating it up when it comes to charging, because the warmer batteries are, the better they are at accepting charge when you're charging, so that's quite useful. So probably for somebody that's thinking about range, really I think it's one of these two, because there's probably a 60 kilometer difference between these two and this one. Just two other points of note on the Cross. So the Cross has a kind of exterior monitor, so if something's coming down the road, of course the second I go out onto the road, there's literally not a car in sight. Bear with me for a sec. So basically that was telling me that there was something coming from outside my kind of peripheral vision. And the road goes quiet for a sec, so I got a Camry, no I don't, I got an Arcana coming down the road, so it's coming down closer to me on this side, so there it is there. Still can't see it. I see the way it's telling me before it actually came in, so that's the closest object to me. So that rear cross monitor is really cool. And the very last thing I want to show you then is on these they have V2L. So when that car was launched, we had a pretty big storm in Ireland at the time, and people lost power in their houses, etc, etc. And some people with electric cars were saying, well, what's great is I can plug in my V2L, and now I can use the car as a power bank. So I can plug in anything that works from a 3-pin socket, and the car becomes a power bank. And you know, you can control how much you want the car to give out power wise and all that stuff. Really, really simple to do. We can show you all that. So the first two models do not have that. This one does. At the time of the video, this is 2025. This car is a 4-seater. In 2026 in Ireland, this car will be a 5-seater. So remember, these two models here, 4-seaters. Cross at the time of the video is 4-seater, but turns into a 5-seater in 2026. Somebody is probably going to say to themselves, what's the right one to buy? There is no right car to buy. So from the point of view, it's the right car for whatever suits you. I know that's really obvious, but somebody that's looking for, the person buying this, they go to the train station every day, they get the train to Dublin, they do the odd long journey, they don't care about features on a car. The Signature is absolutely the correct car for them. No point in spending extra money on stuff they don't want. At the time of the video, the car that we've sold the most of is the middle spec Elegance. Longer range, which people like the features, and they probably saw it as a better value proposition in terms of the amount of features that they're getting in the car at the correct price point. The Cross, I think, is going to be slightly different. Why can't I? Now, if I learned how to do that properly. So the Cross, I think, is going to be, I'd say there's probably some people that bought the middle spec that if it was available at the time, they probably would have considered the Cross. The Cross is the top tier of the price point, so it's not going to be for everyone. From a value proposition, people are probably still going to think the middle spec is the best value proposition there. But for under 30 grand with the amount of stuff you're getting on that car, in my opinion, that is a very, very nice car. Again, I have glanced over some technical information that I know you will need to know, so please do look at the other videos. The comparison video for the first and second models, these two here, it's much more detailed in terms of sizes and all that kind of stuff. So I'd urge you to look at that. And then the first video I had on Inster, again, just for charging and lots of other useful stuff like that. This video here, if you watched all those 3 videos, I don't think there's much else that you probably wouldn't know about buying these cars, so you should be able to make a very informed decision. If I've missed anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hopefully the video has been useful. Thanks for watching.